a Greater Manchester police officer deliberately sought out and attacked a man in a mosque kitchen. I don't know what a mosque kitchen is, over a WhatsApp disagreement. Now, why has this piqued your interest, Nick?
It has nothing to do with a mosque, nothing to do about this man being a Muslim. This is about, again, recruitment. Who are we recruiting to be police officers when a serving police officer says to himself, I don't like what you've said on WhatsApp, probably personal, it might be insulting, I get that, but I am a serving police officer, so I'm going to go to the mosque where you're working and I'm going to give you a smack in the head. And it's like, how's he passed recruitment? If he can do this within his community, within his religious community.
Oh, was he a Muslim as well?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no,
so the mosque kitchen was the kitchen in the mosque?
In the mosque.
All right, so he headed to the mosque,
yeah.
went to the kitchen and smacked the bloke over the head or whatever.
Yeah, no, spot on. That's exactly what he's done. And if he's quite willing to do that, what's he willing to do when he's policing the streets and he's dealing with somebody else?
Yeah.
This comes back down to recruitment again. How are we allowing such people to join the police? Because when we do, and now he's been sacked, the first accusation will be, it's because I'm a brown Muslim. Well, no, it's not. The reason why you've been sacked is because we gave you a job because you're a brown Muslim, but you weren't good enough, and now we've had to sack you. So the police now have made a rod for their own back. And how is their recruitment process not filtering out such erratic behaviour, such short fuse, such an ability to forget he's a police officer and go and assault someone? He must have known this person's going to report him. He must have known that. In which case, he's too stupid to realise, or he didn't care. And again, let's go back to recruitment. How can we recruit officers who don't care? I'm just flabbergasted every time I read these stories. And this has been to court now, been proven guilty.
Right.
So this isn't like, it could have been, no.
It's not alleged, this is actual. I maybe have a different take on this, which is, maybe when he joined the police force, he was the right person. He did have the right views and thought he would have to behave in a certain way. But maybe once he got into the police force, maybe the way the internal standards, the internal strictures of the police force are so poor that he thought he could get away with it. Maybe he got the maybe he joined as a bright young cadet or whatever and thought I'll be honourable and all that sort of stuff. And then once he got inside, he was such a shambles. He thought, I can do what the hell I want. Is that not a possibility?
That is a possibility.
Yeah.
Before I worked for the police and with the police, this is 20 years ago, I used to be based in police stations. I wasn't a police officer. I thought the police were a lot like you see on TV. And when you start working with the police, you realise, I could be a criminal and never get caught, not with these idiots. And that's not a criticism of the police officers, that's a criticism of TV. TV make everything look easy. We found this fingerprint and this bit of DNA, and well, if every crime we had a fingerprint and DNA, the departments that do that would be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So it's not like it is on TV, and that was a learning curve for me 20 years ago. So he probably has realised that, do you know what, I probably can do what I want because I'm a police officer, they'll believe my word more than anybody else's. But also there's another example here that could be power corrupts. And once you give anybody power, and we're all susceptible to this,
I agree.
Once you give people power, it can go to their head. And then maybe being a police officer several years, he's decided, I'm untouchable. And this probably isn't the first time he's abused his position.
Yeah.
And we said this last time, hardly anyone gets caught the first time.
How many other people has he given a slap to and they've not reported it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've done other things, but who are they going to believe, me or you? I'm a serving police officer. And most people would go, oh, well, yeah, you're right.
And that's the point, isn't it? He will also be aware from working in the police how few crimes are solved. I mean, the percentages are ridiculous. Burglaries, it's something like 95% of burglaries are never, goods are never recovered, criminals are never captured. So he would be aware of the woeful record of crime solving in the police as well. So probably thinks, well, I'll get away with it, won't I?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it may be a recruitment issue, but I just wonder if the general kind of sickness of the police institutions as they are at the moment is part of the reason that might have happened, possibly.
I got a message the other day through a friend of mine, so I don't know who this person is, but she's a serving police officer in Greater Manchester Police, who passed on a message that she's unhappy with some of my comments on Greater Manchester Police.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've had lots of messages in support of what I'm saying from police officers, but this one was a negative one. She felt I'm picking on the police all the time. Now, in one way, she's perfectly correct. I am purposely picking on the police because the mayor will be the police crime commissioner.
Yeah.
And there's no service in the country more important than the police. And my answer to her, if she watches these podcasts, would be, unless we shine a light on where the police are failing, it will never get better. Now, she might be a very good officer, and we've had this conversation before. I think most officers are very good officers.
You've said that with no justification, no evidence.
No evidence and no justification.
No empirical data.
Just based on human nature, I would say most officers want to be good officers. If they're failing, it's usually down to the system itself. But the only way we change the system is for people like me and other people to point out where the failures are. We don't improve the police by covering up these sort of incidents. We change the police by shining a light on these incidents, which then make the bad apples in the police go, right, I need to start behaving myself because this light could be shining on me next week. So I just wanted to raise that. It's not always positive for police officers.
And I think, again, there's an interesting point there, isn't there, that we are heading to a society now where you aren't allowed to criticise certain things. And I think the police is kind of under that. The NHS used to be under that banner. I think people are now happy to criticise the NHS. The police have been, for a long time, there's always been an understanding they can't be criticised. But I think we need to be criticising the police. We need to be criticising the NHS. That's the job of people to as you say, shine a light on these behaviours. And the lady's comment, if it was a lady who's
it was a female police officer.
My response to her would be, if the police force are doing everything right the way they should be doing, there will be no criticism. So asking not to be criticised is fine if you are without effectively sin, basically. But I think the police force has got a lot to answer for.
If you like that video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell and comment. And if you like what I'm saying about running for Mayor of Greater Manchester, then stick around. Tell your family, tell your friends. The only way I'm going to have a chance of winning is a grassroots movement. So be part of that movement and hit that bell. Thanks.